Hello my lovelies. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Jamie. Today we are going to be going over the many books I have read for the month of July. And first of all, this was not planned at all. This is what happens when I get free range of what I want. And they aren't even all here. I'm kind of just not using my desk today because I want to be in the light. And if I go near my desk, it's like a little dark corner. And that light bulb doesn't exactly light everything up very well. Starting off, statistics. I did really well this month, a lot better than I thought I was going to, because after that 24-hour readathon, I honestly hit a really hard book slump. But considering that it was a mood read month, I grabbed whatever I was in the mood for to keep me reading, and I think it worked because I kept reading all month without a slump for longer than a day, or maybe two. I don't remember. I think that all had to start with this one, by the way. I had a really tense but also adventurous month. I chose a lot of dark murder mystery books, which is kind of what I was in the mood for anyway. I was in the mood for a lot of murder mystery and a bunch of drama too. I was just in the mood for it. So that ties in with the adventurous, tense, and emotional books, because that's mostly what all this is. There are some books on here that I don't know if you guys will count or not. I did read a bunch of graphic novels, and we'll get to which ones in a little bit. I am super excited to share those. As far as pace goes, I read a lot of books that were fast, and then I read a lot that were slow. Very few in between. But they didn't read like that. A lot of them seemed very fast-paced. Page numbers, we also went very basic. Yeah, I read some over 500, and then I read some under 300, and then majority of them weren't. So I did end up reading one nonfiction book this month. It turned out to be a memoir. This one was actually not planned until later on in the month. This nonfiction book was sent to me by the book publicity company that sent me The Tyranny of Tomorrow. I really enjoyed that book, so I was hoping like I would enjoy this memoir just as much as I did, and we will get to how I feel about that book soon. So believe it or not, the genre that took the cake this month was not my typical thriller or young adult or classic or anything like that. It was fantasy. I read mostly fantasy this month, which is rare, by the way. But I think I know what did it, because the graphic novels I read are fantasy-based, and I think that has something to do with it. But after the fantasy, the thriller and the romance were not far behind. It was a very well-rounded month. I don't know if I read any classics. Oh, I did read one. That I did not enjoy. We'll get into that too. So my average star rating for this month was a 4.48. I did really good, but that's because I read a lot of 4 stars and like 3.75 stars. That's mostly where I was laying. I didn't have many 5 stars this month. Not as much as I did last month. I don't know what it was. Just nothing was grabbing me like that. I don't know what it was about this month. Just nothing felt like a 5-star to me. I don't know if it was because I just have high expectations now, or it's just I didn't feel it. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I really don't. As far as pages go for this month, I read 5,835, I believe. Guys, I was all over the place. That big spike that you guys are seeing right now, that was from the 24-hour readathon. And then you notice the drop. And then the spaces in between that. I went a few days without reading, but then I would have big spurts where I would read like a lot, and then I would go back down. It did that for most of the month. I don't know what it was this month. I don't know. All the statistics are done, so we can start on these. This is a very tedious month, but I had a good time. So the first one I read, I think I manifested this to myself right after doing my mid-year check-in, because one of the books I said I needed to read before the end of the year was I needed to finish Order of the Phoenix, the next in the Harry Potter series. Funny enough, as soon as I started reading little snippets of it, I went full on and I just finished it. So the first one we have is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This was one of our fantasies. And the reason why my days, or how long books usually took me to read, was astronomically incorrect. Because this took me about 7 months to get through. It had 7 months on the days it took me to get through, and it's been slowly going down. That's how fast I was reading. To get it down, it went down from 7 months to 15 days this month, which was ridiculous, by the way. But this book, I believe, was my only 5-star. No, I lied. That wasn't my only 5-star. This was one of my 5 stars. I knew what to expect from this. This is my least favorite in the series, only because it is so emotional. And everything that is happening with Harry in this, it was so painful to read. And I knew what was going to happen, and I just wasn't in the mood to read it and get through it. As soon as I got past a few parts, it was fine, and then I just binged the rest of it, which was hilarious because it took me 7 months to get to that point. Getting through the Umbridge reign was really, really hard because I despise that woman. I despise her with a fiery frickin' passion. Diving deeper into what happened with the giants and the centaurs, that I thought was really, really interesting and a part of the book that I liked having clarification on. I didn't even know that they had replaced the divination professor until this one. Because they didn't have that in the movie, they didn't have time, so they just omitted it. I really, really enjoyed this, even though it was really, really hard to get through. The next one, I don't think it will be as bad. So I may tackle it, and maybe not this year. I'm going to wait until the beginning of next year to start this because they're so huge. I mean, come on. Alrighty, so the next one that I read right after that, I actually decided on a buddy read with one of the ladies who watches my videos, and she's the only one in my book club at the moment. She wanted to actually start this series with me, and I told her, I'm going to keep the book up quick, but we can do this as a buddy read. Best decision I ever freaking made. Good Girl's Guide to Murder, this was my other 5-star that I had for the month. This was so freaking good. It doesn't read like a young adult. Like, it has young adult characters in it, and, it's set in, like, high school, because she's a junior. She's a junior in this one. I loved it. I really, really loved it. It kept me guessing with who did what and what happened, and just the twist at the end completely took me by surprise. I had a feeling between one thing, but the last thing that popped up at the end, I'm like, what just happened? So, took me by surprise. It's an amateur sleuthing, a girl who was doing this for a project. We did research into the 2014 missing persons investigation of Andy Bell in Fairview, Connecticut. So the report is on how print and televised social media have become key players in police investigations. That was her excuse for diving deep into finding out what happened to these 2 students. One of her friends was accused of killing his girlfriend, and he was found dead in the woods, committed suicide, or so they said, and the girl was never found. So we're left with what happened, so everyone just assumed that he killed her. Well, she doesn't believe so. So she wanted to dive deep into what actually happened to them. I am currently on the 2nd book at the moment, Girl Bad Blood. So far, that one is really, really good too. I am enjoying that one just as much. I have heard not so good things about the 3rd book because you don't get the same things we do in the 1st and 2nd. But now that I'm aware of that, I will be prepared, just in case. I love mixed media in here. Even in the audiobook was amazing. They have a mixed cast for the audiobook for Pip and all the other characters that get interviewed, and any letters that came in, any emails, anything like that, any mixed media that came in, and there was quite a bit, by the way. they were all by different characters in the audiobook. That was really, really cool. And that made it even more alive to me that it's reading like a podcast. So I was so happy with this. This was definitely a 5-star read. I can understand why everyone is hyping about this one. The next one is one I don't have anymore. We read Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was one of my other 5-star reads that I read for this month. Oh my god. If you guys watched my 24-hour reading challenge, oh my gosh. I read that all day and I did not regret a single thing at all. It was so good. You get so much personal growth. You get family dynamic, figuring out like who she is on the inside and what she's capable of. And we also dive very deep into what the astronaut, camps and the processes are like. She must have done a lot of research into this book. It was actually really impressive. And I said that in my vlog. It was very, very impressive how much she dived deep into this. But it made me mad. All these emotions I showed in my vlog because I was not afraid to hide it. I was mad. I was upset. I cried at the end. Oh my gosh, it was so freaking good. Even if you are not a Taylor Jenkins Reid fan, I still think that this is a really, really good book. The romance, I loved it. I thought it was adorable. It was so cute. I can't dive deep into it because it's kind of a spoiler, just a little bit. But it is so freaking cute. I loved it so much. So that's just the start of my 24-hour readathon. The next book, it's a win for me. This book, I gave this one a 4.75. I loved everything about this book. This is written by a girl who was actually in my graduating class. I read this because I knew that she would have wanted people to read it and give their opinions about it. I freaking loved it. This story was so freaking cute. I mean, oh. It was so freaking cute. Just everything in here. I giggled every other freaking page of this, reading this. The setting, I loved how it was kind of a sports romance. It was very good introductory for me for sports romance. It was football, and I do like football a lot better than most of the other sports. The other one I would say is baseball, but this is because they're one of the few that I actually understand. I liked everything, but the reason why it's not a 5-star is because I didn't like the last 30 pages and what she was doing. I get what she was doing. She was trying to give the setup for the epilogue, but I felt like we could have done without it and just been given the epilogue. Other than that, I loved everything about it. She says that she is going to be thinking of writing some more. I told her I'll be the first in line. I'll be the first in line for it. I don't care. It was really freaking good, and it was awesome. The next one that I read in the same night that I did the 24-hour readathon was The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. This book was actually a part of my book club from Jenkins Reid's. I DNF'd it, I think about 50 pages in, something like that. But I do have a reason. It wasn't because I didn't like the writing. I will 100% read something else by this author. I didn't like it because it reminded me way too much about the selection series. So, I'm not going to be rating it because I didn't finish it and because I'm a little biased towards it, if I'm going to be honest, because of that. I think that the selection by Kiera Cass is one of my favorite series of all time, and I don't want a cheap ripoff of it, just throwing in Fae and some other aspects into it. Not with me. If you guys love it, feel free, and if you haven't read the selection, go for it. But from someone who's read the first 3 books in the selection series, no. Another one I DNF'd in the same night was Fourth Wing. I'm gonna get a lot of crap for this, but I just didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anything for it. I felt like, yes, the fantasy part was built okay. It was alright. I got what was going on, kind of. It's just, I don't know if it was the characters and how the other characters were talking to her. I felt like they were just trying too hard. I need someone else's opinion who didn't like the series too. It wasn't the writing. It was something about the writing specifically. I just can't place it. I don't. I've been thinking about it literally for weeks and I cannot place it. And it was worse when I tried taking off the audio and tried reading it physically. It was worse. I could not stand it. So, I don't know. It could have been the banter and the language between the characters that was getting me. Like, it was trying too hard to be gung-ho. That's the best way I can describe it. Yeah, I just don't know what it was. But I DNF'd it too. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch the series. I'm good. I tried it. Akatar, you have my heart and soul, but you don't. Sorry. All right, the next one, I read not 1, not 2, but 3 Lore Olympus books. For those of you who have read Lore Olympus, you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys have to binge these. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, Lore Olympus is one of the webtoons that I talk about sometimes. Absolutely loved it until they started charging for episodes, which made me mad. I was in the library one day and I saw these in the very back. My library goes through A through Z on the fiction. Well, when you're at Z, which is the very back of the library, by the way, there's a little graphic novel section for the adults. And it was sitting right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All 7 are there. So I got the first one that day. And I went back like 2-3 times. Rachel Smith, you are absolutely wonderful because not only do you have good graphic art skills, but Persephone and Hades, who doesn't love a Persephone and Hades love story? All the other characters, I absolutely love. Apollo, I hate you. I hate. Hera, I love, by the way. Hera is my girl. I absolutely love these graphic novels. These took up most of my fantasy. Now you guys know why. I gave all 3 of them a 4.75. It's not a 5-star for me because I feel like it's cliche. It's Persephone and Hades. Everything else, I absolutely love. I love a lot about this series. It is so freaking cute. I love the artwork and just everything that's going on so right now is very dramatic. But that's all it is. It's just it's a TV drama series. So the next one that I read for the month of July was The Mother-in-Law by Sally Hepworth. I didn't hate it. And I didn't love it. It was okay. I liked the mysterious aspect of it. This turns out is a literary mystery, which I didn't even know was a thing, but apparently it's a thing. This was really, really interesting. We get a lot of backstory from the characters. We keep hopping back and forth timelines from past to present. So, Lucy's the daughter-in-law, Diana is the mother-in-law. Simple. Present is where we hear that Diana committed suicide. And they're trying to figure out why and what happened, how the family reacts, and blah, blah, blah. Way, way past, we go all the way up to Lucy first met her husband, when she first met Diana, and then we go from, Lucy and Diana having their relationship, and we also get his sister's perspective as well, because she is a part of a big family. They are a very rich family. So her being incorporated to this, they have to get to know her. I do have to admit that one of the reasons why I gave it a 3.5 was because it was very predictable. I definitely got bored just a little bit, and I felt like they could have been, I don't know, I just wanted more out of it. The ending I definitely saw coming. It was 1 out of 2 people that I thought were doing it. I was right. The story about his sister, though, his sister got me. That whole story. The kids come, what's happening with the sister and everything else because it hops back and forth. So you get it from one end and then it kind of makes sense when you go through the past. It wasn't really any surprises about what happened. But it was still a good read. I did enjoy myself. I did finish it. So it was okay. It was okay. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. The next one, and the one that I gave a low rating because I didn't understand a single thing what was going on. We have Slaughterhouse-5. I don't know why this is a classic. If someone can explain it to me, that would be useful. Because I was so confused the entire time. You know, we have aliens one moment, and then we have flashback into World War, and then we figure out we have a time travel aspect, but we don't get that until, like, here. I got lost so many times, and I found myself just drifting in and out, and I didn't want to give up because it's short. You know, it was like 4 hours long audiobook. I gave this a 3.25 because I finished it and because I thought it was somewhat interesting with the parts that I actually understood. But other than the point, it's supposed to be black humor and, you know, bringing the attention during the time period, but it really didn't to me. So I think this was just a complete flop on the classic spectrum. This is the least favorite so far. Alright, so the next one I read after Slaughterhouse-5 because I needed something else after that. I went with The Unwanted Guest by Shari Lapena. My lady did it again. I did not know who the heck did this. The murdering and everything else. She completely went rogue on this. And let me tell you, she is still the queen of surprises. So, I love her so much. She writes so well. This one, I didn't give a 5-star, and I gave it a 4.75 because there was a little bit of confusion with the characters when we first get going. You get them eventually because they get mentioned more. You finally distinguish who is who and what they look like and everything else. Barely. You barely know what they look like. But I was so surprised with where she took this. The setting was immaculate. I could picture it to a T, but I couldn't really picture the characters, and that was the only thing that I didn't like about this one. Other than that, the plot of everything, the murder mystery aspect, the setting was immaculate. I absolutely loved where she had this. This is basically a story that's set up in the snow in the mountains. They're in the Catskills. I don't know where that is. That's probably a lame blip. But they're all staying overnight at a mountain inn, you know, enjoying the getaway and everything else. It's pictured like a log cabin-esque type of inn. You know the vibes. Like very dim lit, you know, bartending type. It was really, really cool. You know, relaxing, maybe even romantic getaway. A blizzard cuts off the electricity, so everybody's stuck, you know, all together, cut off from the outside world completely. They try to settle in, try to make the best of it. Soon, one of the guests actually turns up dead. And it looks like an accident. Well, 5 seconds of, you know, a criminal defense lawyer looking at that saying, that's not an accident. Starts raising questions, and then, you know, things really start happening, and they get hunted one by one. There's nothing they can do but hunker down and hope they can survive the storm. It was really, really good. From all the ones that I've read so far, I've read a lot, by the way, from this author. This one and The End of Her are taking the cake for me. So the next one I picked up after The Unwanted Guest, I actually found number 2 at a different library. So we picked up Solo Leveling number 2, and I really enjoyed it. Just as much as I did the first one. It's action-y, but it's level up action-y. Not really, you know, fighting people. We're fighting a lot of monsters and animals and, you know, a lot of gore and blood, by the way. But I really did enjoy this, and I do intend on reading the rest of the series, but this one I did give a 4.75. It just wasn't there for me because I'm waiting until we fight people. You know what I mean? Or at least harder characters to where, like, oh crap, they can do that. What are we gonna do? But I just wasn't feeling it from this. They were like smaller animals. I'm so happy that I picked up manga again. It's helping so much with keeping my reading pace because then I get to have a brain break. I can just picture it without having to think about it. You know what I mean? The next one that I read for July was my Cherry Cheesecake Murder book. that I've been trying to read for months. And she came out with a 3.75. That hurt my soul. Don't get me wrong. I love her writing. I really do. I think she is one of the most humorous murder mystery writers ever, which is why I love her so much. This one just did not do it for me. And I'm going to tell you why. This story is basing, you can read these as standalones, but it's better to start from the beginning because you get things as you go. Like her sister starts off pregnant and then has her baby, and right now she's a toddler. So, we're building up to that. Right now, the town is getting people in to do a movie here. So they're getting people to play extras. They're people to play, big parts. I think her niece, actually, Hannah's niece, actually plays one of the main characters in the movie. So it's a big part of the town right now. That took up most of the story. The murder mystery didn't even happen until here. And then we're left with really fast-paced sleuthing. And then we were done. I felt like we just spent so much time building up the movie and doing the movie instead of, having the movie shifted in between the murder mystery. Instead of having the murder mystery be an afterthought. That's never happened before, ever. So I was very, very surprised and kind of disappointed. Am I still going to read the next one in the series? Absolutely. Because I'm hoping that it changes. From what I've heard, it does change. I did like how she solved her little suitor problem. I laughed my butt off in the beginning of this because I could just feel the stress seeping off of the pages so much to where I wanted to scream. I feel like it was my own frustrations. That I will give her credit for, which is why, I didn't rate anything below a 3.5. I still felt a lot about this, but most of it was negative. After that, I was in the mood for another Shari lapena. So we went with What Have You Done? This one, reading an older one versus a newer one, we have so many more characters in this one than we did Unwanted Guest. Unwanted Guest, we still had at least 12 characters point of view. It's a lot. Okay, it's a lot. But she got so much better at splitting everybody up. This one starts off the story with a farmer who goes out to his field and he's about to start working in it when all of a sudden he sees a dead girl lying without clothes in the middle of his field, strangled to death. So we call the police and they start digging into this and figuring out who saw her last, and we go from the story from there. We get some characters who I honestly had no idea. I had no idea who possibly could have done it, and the person who ended up actually doing it was the last person that I ever expected. I did not. They weren't even on my radar at all as any possibility. So for me, once again, takes the cake as the queen of surprise. But yeah, this one, comparing them with her older one, did a lot better job of separating all of her characters. But I still felt just the slightest bit bored until I got to the end. I felt like it could have been a little bit shorter, not by much, but a little bit shorter just to give not the illusion that I was getting bored. Because we were getting that way towards the end. The twist did not happen until right here. The last 30 pages were what? What just happened? So, Queen of Surprises still to this day, and she didn't see it coming now. So, I want to read it so bad, but I have other priorities this month. Sucks, but that's okay. She took the cake for me this month. She's still my favorite. Out of all of my thriller, mystery writers, she's still my favorite. And probably will be for a very long time. So the next one I read This was coming towards the very tail end of the month, by the way. All these last books I read like within a week of the month. I got to listen, finally, to Rogue Justice by Stacey Abrams. I've thought about this, of what I needed to rate this. I haven't... I liked it like I liked the first one, and I saw the potential there. I definitely see it. I am so curious of where they are going to go in the third book, because they definitely set it up very well. Questioning politics and the people in charge and the people who are responsible for the electric grid and everything else. So we could dive deep into politics on this one. But there is still that thriller aspect, there is still that mystery, there is still the amateur sleuthing, because she's an attorney. She's not a detective, but you know what? We dive deeper into it on this one versus we did the first one. You have to really think about this one and really break it down. And you have to know at least a little bit about the judicial and politics system to understand a lot of this. And I learned a lot of it from her. So we're making our way through. But this is about Avery, and the first one is about her becoming the power of attorney for a judge who is now in a coma. And he was actually the judge doing digging into some conspiracies dealing with the president. And some things that he was doing that he should not have been doing. So that's the first book. Can't really talk about this one because it spoils the first book. And I am ready for the third. It's in my brain. I definitely want to read that soon, because we left off not really on a cliffhanger, but we definitely want more to figure out what happens in that story. She left it very, very well set up for the next one. So I was very happy, and I'm so happy that this is my copy now. This is one of the ones that I found at the bookstore. I was very happy to get a hold of this. Next up, this is technically a review, but also not. These are not my reviews. Me and Nick had to take an unexpected trip to North Carolina. I did do a little bit of a vlog-ish about that. I am so happy that I got to read these again. Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. Absolutely love the series. For those of you who have not read this, this is about 3 kids, the Baudelaires, who come from a rich family, who have a fortune stashed away for them when they come of age. They get the word that their parents had died in a fire in their home, and now they are left not only homeless, but also parentless. So they have their story of hopping from guardian to guardian with a Count Olaf following them, trying to get their fortune all the way through. This man does some creepy stuff and some very evil things. So these kids, they're just trying to live and find a home that they can be happy in. And it's so depressing. And this is the turning point in the series. And I had to tell my husband that. I'm like, once we get past this book, then it starts taking another turn. So he ended up reading this. I've read the whole series already. So for the Vile Village, he really, really enjoyed this one. We got to laugh so much at this one because there were some things in here that were not physically possible, and he's even like, this did not happen like this. This cannot happen like this. What are you doing? And then he's like, when you try this, you could try this. What are you doing? It was so funny watching him get so angry about this. It was ridiculous. But I loved listening to this one in the car again. I actually read to him this book. And then we also got to listen to The Hospital right after that. That's number 8. I told him, I'm like, this is where we start taking turns. And he did not expect the ending. I'm like, that's kind of the point. From here on out, we go in rogue. This isn't going to be the same story we've been getting. But he really enjoyed that one as well. I'm not really rating these because they're extras. I have read them before. They are a reread. These are just for his benefit. But I thought it would be fun to share them with you guys. Give you more middle school and high school ideas. I love this series so much. And we are on number 9. And we have 5 more books left to do. Lord knows when we're going to finish the series because these are the first 2 he's read this year. But he still read 2 books this year. I can't complain. The next one, and I also read on that North Carolina trip, was The Housekeeper's Secret. This book was sent to me by the book publicity company that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. This is by Sandra Schackenberg. I believe it's how you pronounce her name. I could be wrong. I loved this. This was so freaking good. I forgot on multiple occasions that this wasn't a fiction book. That this was actually someone's life and someone's experiences. And the lady that we're talking about, or the lady that Sandy is talking about in her life, the housekeeper, I keep forgetting that all that stuff happened to her, like actually happened to her. So it was so awesome. And the fact that we have pictures in here from her and the actual family, I thought that was so cool. But it reads so well. It reads like a fiction book. It was amazing. Between the setting, because we're taking place in the 60s, so you guys can just imagine. It describes the house. It was so freaking weird. Some of the furniture that she described in here, I'm like, oh my god, you got to be kidding me. But between that and the family and everything that happened. So writing this as a memoir, did I learn something from it? Absolutely. I learned a lot about certain systems that are in this world. For her, they took place, I think, around the 90s, which would kind of make sense anyway. But, some of the stuff they did back then just really rolled me up. But learning about that, yes, I definitely learned a lot from this. Did I enjoy myself? Absolutely. Absolutely loved it. Did I give it a 5-star? Not quite. Because, actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, why aren't you a 5-star? I have no it wasn't lagging, because we were getting action through the whole, it was literally very, why aren't you a 5-star? Okay, I guess we're changing it. I guess she's a 5. Because it was, I had no complaints. I didn't realize I had no complaints. I was wondering why you were a 4.75. There's no reason. But, oh my gosh, guys. If you guys have not read this yet because it came out this year, but please read this. This is so freaking good. Publicity Company, we're 2 for 2 right now. You guys have been giving me, like, seriously. I'm in love. This was such a good story, and it does not read like a memoir. I keep forgetting that it's a memoir about this lady's life and, you know, the other lady that was a part of her life who made her life better. And love the family dynamic, from the love in here to just the hardships too. It just, yeah, you needed to be a 5. All right, last one that I read for the month of July is The Champagne Toast by Leah Orr. This was sent to me by the author herself. I got a little beef with this one. So this one I ended up writing at a solid 4 because it's advertised as a thriller, but it's not. It's really not. It's a love story. Because majority of this book doesn't deal with the suspenseful moments. Are there instances where we're like, I'm interesting, I wonder what happened with that, but are we like dying to know what happened? No. It was a good romantic story, and I think if we would have left it at the romantic story, that would have been cool. Adding on like the little tidbit in the back, dealing with the thriller portion of it, I thought that was very interesting. It was definitely surprising, but also not surprising, you know? Because you protect your family. That's all I'm going to say. It was okay. It was okay. Did I love it? No. Did I hate it? No. So we're in the gray area with this one as well. I did enjoy the romance aspect of it. It was so cute. And the proposal, so freaking cute. I would have died. That was so cool. You know, unraveling family secrets and everything, but we really didn't touch on it enough. And, you know, I wish that it didn't cut off. I wish there was a little bit more to it, dealing with the thriller aspect of it, like a flashback from, you know, that time period where we see a few things, where we make up our own minds of what happened. I wish we would have got that. I think that would have been the icing on the cake, is if we would have been able to make up our minds a little bit more and have more time with the thriller aspect of it. That would have made it more powerful. But other than that, I enjoyed it. It was really good, and I'm happy I have a copy of it now. Yeah, she signed it too. It was sweet. Thank you, by the way. I really enjoyed that. We are finally done, and I have probably been doing this for hours. I have been doing this for hours. I've been doing this for an hour and a half. But that is the price we pay for reading a lot of books during the month. And I really enjoyed myself. I enjoyed each and every one of these reads to an extent. There's only a couple of DNFs, but we're not going to rate those anymore. Thank you guys for joining me today. I absolutely love giving you guys new reviews about the books I'm reading and what I get gifted now. It's so nice being able to receive stuff for people to say, can you review this? It's so awesome to finally get that feeling. I've been looking forward to that for so long, and I've been getting more requests. So it was a highlight of my week is receiving these and getting the chance to read them. I read them almost immediately. There's one that I have received recently, but it is a chunker, so it's gonna take me a second. I absolutely love receiving these. These are awesome, and thank you guys so much for that. I thank the rest of you for watching as long as you have, because if you've reached this point, then I congratulate you. This is turning into such a long video because I keep reading more and more every month. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's insane. Like, I've never read this much in my life. But I feel so excited to read different things now. I have that at my fingertips, and it's an amazing feeling. I read such a variety. I read anything from new to old to classic to mystery to just meh. It's just a variety of everything, and I absolutely loved it. But that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining me and reaching the end of this video. And if you did reach the end of this video, you guys can give me the toast emoji for champagne toast as our last book if you reached that far. If you guys like the video, please remember to like and subscribe. That'll help me bring you guys more videos every week, and I will definitely be diving more into that now that I've been rejuvenated. I have so much energy. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm just so happy today. I don't know why. Love your reads and drink your teas, and I'm gonna go read some more. Bye!
You say it's hard to tell just what I'm thinking. You think it's hard to see